Hello everyone, welcome to my tutorial. Today I'm going to talk about the web services and more particularly about the RESTful web services because this tutorial is about creating a web application using the Spring Boots and then Angular and then a RESTful web services connecting to the MySQL server. So in order to understand the RESTful web services, first we need to know what is a web service. A web service is nothing but a communication or a way of communicating between two applications using some formats, and the two applications may be built on different programming languages or residing in different operating systems. So let's take an example. Let's say that you are going to create a weather app. Okay, and for that you need daily and then hourly temperatures. Now these daily and hourly temperatures is coming from the government side. Government weather network. Now let's say that they tell you what the daily or hourly temperatures, and these daily and hourly temperatures they are sending you through a web services. And remember that let's assume that this is a Java based application that the government weather network is providing. So, and your client over here, and let's say that your client is a Angular or let's say .NET language, okay, that .NET application. So now this client application doesn't need to know what this site is made of. Like this site is made with Java, but doesn't matter. So when you request, so you are making a request, and the request is you are asking hourly temperature. And then the government weather network knows that what you are asking for, and it is just returning you the response with the temperature. Now, how these are communicating, this .NET application and this Java application, this is something what the web services is doing. So this exchange can be done with the XML, which was kind of like the standard one, and then we can have the JSON objects, which we can use for the RESTful web services. So we'll be talking about the JSON later on, but remember that whenever they are communicating with each other, they don't look at what application it is made of. They just send the objects. So over here, the request is asking for some object, which is the temperature, and the government website knows that what the client has asked for, and then the government side then can return the requested object. So this is how they are communicating. So now let's get into the PowerPoint slide. So again, web service, a data exchange system that uses internet protocols to communicate with different type of application. An example Java-based application communicate with .NET or some other platforms. And the features are available over internet or intranet networks, initially standardized through XML-based system, independent of programming language or operating systems. And types, there are many types, there are a few types, but the most prominent is the SOAP and the RESTful. So what is the difference between SOAP and REST? The SOAP stands for Simple Object Access Protocol, designed for structured data exchange through XML and use HTTP or SMTP for transmission. Remember here that it's using the XML, but for transmission it is using the HTTP protocol or HTTP transmission. And then web services description language, we call that in short WSDL or WSDL tells how the SOAP request and response be defined. So that means in order to in order to communicate between the client and the server, the client needs to know that how the server is sending the XML objects. Okay, so that means if the temperature, the client is asking for the temperature from the server, the client needs to know that how the server is sending, is requesting for the object, and then the client can prepare its object like that. And the whole thing is using the communication, using the XML. And then SOAP is more standardized and hard to develop. Because it is standardized, you need to follow some rules, and whenever there are rules, it's you have to it's a little bit difficult. And then the RESTful, each unique URI represents a unique object, uses HTTP and its methods such as get, post, put, delete, and it's more lightweight, easy to develop, and there is no standards. Okay, but nowadays RESTful is getting more popularity. So now let's move into the RESTful web services. REST, which stands for the representational state transfer, architecture-based web service are called RESTful web service. Data and functionalities are considered as resources and are accessed using uniform resource identifier, or we call that the URI. That is the web link in short. Designed to use a stateless communication protocol, typically HTTP, and communication is simple, fast, and lightweight. That is what I just mentioned before. And then features, the RESTful features are resource identification through URI. I just said a RESTful web service exposes its resources, data, and implementation through URI to its clients. Okay, so we'll be seeing how we are going to implement it, but again, it's the URI that tells that I'm looking for which object or which implementation, and then it works accordingly. And then uniform interface, resources are manipulated using a fixed set of create, read, update, delete operations, and the methods are put, get, post, and delete methods. Self-descriptive messages, resource can be decoupled through HTML, XML, plain text, JSON, PDF, etc. Okay, so these are the medias that we can use for transferring data for the RESTful web services. State of interaction, and resource interaction is stateless. Stateful interaction can be possible through URI rewriting, cookies, and hidden form fields. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you.